Hey there, happy day 1212 of What You Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting my journey as I transition from brick and mortar world to the and the corporate world to the online world and back and forth. I'm not going back to corporate. Maybe I might buy some companies. Not going back to corporate as an employee ever. I don't think I'll ever do that. Not that I didn't have awesome experiences. I loved my corporate career. It was really, really fun. It was exciting. But I wanted to be able to do other things that most corporations don't allow within their guidelines and rules and paradigms and beliefs. They think that you come into our organization, this is the career path that you'll take, depending on how you enter that organization. And that never really worked for me, so I decided I'd have to do my own thing. Today I'm thinking about 24/7 and experiences, because in our Do One Thing Every Day annual challenge this year that centers us, we talked about experiences, and I don't know how, but I lost my tab. That is no good. And it was from Aldous Huxley, one of my actually daughter's favorite authors, and it talked about experience isn't what happens to us, it's what we do with what happens to us. And that's paraphrased because, of course, it says man in Aldous Huxley's terminology and time, but it applies to all of us, right? Experience is so true. I mean, a lot of times we think that the experiences that we happen to encounter, think COVID-19, it's an experience that all of us had, but everybody did something different with it, right? And with the way the world changed, all of us responded and reacted slightly differently in spite of or because of the changes with respect to the COVID-19 pandemic. So the thing happened to all of us simultaneously, which is fascinating in and of itself, that so much of the world was impacted by the same thing. It's like if an asteroid hit the planet or something, a lot of the world would be impacted. Obviously, seen too many sci-fi movies in my day, but it's a really important thing to remember. We're all going to have experiences, and we're all going to experience things differently. How I experience COVID-19 is different than how my son or my daughter or my relatives or my clients or my friends or anybody else experience COVID-19. We all have had a slightly different way of experiencing that, because based on our previous things that have happened to us, based on our previous experiences, we come with different levels of understanding or problem solving or ways of dealing with challenges and change. And so some people stupendously negatively impacted by the pandemic. Others actually it put their life in a trajectory in a positive way that they never could have even imagined. So guess what? That's how life always is. It's just that it's happening differently for all of us all the time. COVID is just a common denominator that impacted a lot of us. It's kind of like 9/11 here in the United States. It had a huge impact on almost everyone in the country. So I think it's a really important topic, and it's a really interesting thing to ponder, because how often do we think about how we respond to things, how we respond to our experience? Vast majority of us don't. I mean, and I like to think I do think about those things sometimes, and I think very rarely about an experience that I'm having and how I'm interpreting it. I don't ever really, hardly ever think about that on a conscious level, unless I'm periodically going back and reviewing things that have happened in the past or events that are happening, and I'm stopping myself and I'm sitting down and I'm saying, okay, this thing just happened. I need to consciously decide how I want to respond. And I do that for big things, but for little things, I have a system of dealing with changes and challenges and little things that's just automatic now, which has served me very well. So experience was the topic for our All About You challenge today. Our Supersize Your Business challenge was all about the idiom or the expression 24/7. And I found that one really interesting because the actual first time it was documented was in Sports Illustrated magazine in 1983. They were interviewing a basketball player named Jerry Reynolds, I think. Yep. I have no idea who Jerry Reynolds is. I don't even know who he played for. But he was describing his jump shot, and that it was always dead nuts on, and it was always consistent. It was always going to go in and score. And so that's where it was first documented. But of course, people have used the expression and the I guess the way it's written, 24/7, for a long time. They've used it to describe things that we're responsible for. They've used it to describe when their business is open. They've used it to describe how much they work. I work 24/7. If you hire me, I will work 24/7. I will give you 125%. Red flags to me. If you ever interview with me for anything, please don't tell me you're going to work 24/7, and please don't tell me you're going to give me 125%. One of my pet peeves is being a nerdy engineer and math person is 100% of something is all you've got. It's 100%. Now, it doesn't mean you can't expand and grow and become more and better in certain areas and skills, but then that becomes your new 100%. Your capacity is 100%. So that's just a pet peeve from an engineer. You know, unless you're looking at profits or change or comparing things to things in the past, 100% is as good as it gets, right? So there's a little secret into my character. Also, don't ever call me and say, you got a second, you got a minute. One of my biggest pet peeves is, you know that you're interrupting, so it's polite to ask, but my ex used to say that every time he called me, and he'd call me 15 times a day and say, got a sec? And I knew that whenever he said, got a sec or got a minute, it was going to be at least 15 to 50 minutes of a situation he was going to describe, and and at the end of that 30 to 50 minutes, or 15, I'm exaggerating, I would hear the point of the whole conversation. Well, I'm very direct, and I'm like, give me the 30-second point of the conversation first before you go into all your thinking and all your reasoning and all the why, because usually that's got a whole bunch of excuses and judgments and reasons why you can't do something, and you expect me to do it for you. Please don't do that. Anyway, lessons learned over a lifetime of experiences with different human beings and different types of people, and how I respond to it. Working with some new people these days and having a lot of fun with it. Again, secret projects that I will divulge when I'm able to, or maybe never. It's up to people. When you're working with certain people in certain industries and certain individuals, sometimes they don't want you to know, or other people to know. You already know, but they don't want other people to know that you're actually helping and working with them. I don't understand why exactly, but some people are like that. You know, I found that throughout my careers. A lot of times people want you to just help them in the background, and then I guess maybe it's an ego or a credit thing that people don't want other people to know that, hey, I had a coach once and she really helped me out, but I'm not going to tell anybody that I ever had a coach, because I want them to think that I'm just like an overnight wonder and success. I mean, I just think it's silly, but to each our own, right? I've had lots of coaches and lots of people that have helped me in my life, mentors and coaches and experiences and situations, and I've sought them out. I've sought out people that are smarter and wiser than me, because, you know, there's a lot of them, and why would I not want to learn? Even people that we don't think are smarter than us. Everybody has something to show us and something to teach us. And sometimes what they have to show us and teach us is something about ourselves that we're just not recognizing and just not seeing. And the world has this interesting way of putting people in front of us that are showing us the same thing in different ways, until we actually see what it is that we need to see and understand and learn the lesson that we need to learn. It's a little philosophical, but I totally believe it. Anyway, that's what I'm working on right now. I invite you. I've got a call in about an hour, so I need to get ready for that. So go out, have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, if you have a question about, you know, what do you do next? What do I do next? So often people get stuck, and I had this conversation yesterday with someone about, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I think they said, I don't know what to do about 8 times. And I was like, we always know what to do. We just don't necessarily want to admit it. With respect to any area and aspect of our life. If it's a relationship area and we're saying, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. Guess what? You always know what to do. I always knew what to do in my relationship. I just didn't want to do it. I was scared to do it. I thought it would be more painful to do it than to stay in the situation I was in. We always know what to do with respect to our finances, with respect to our relationships, with respect to our kids, with respect to our everything. we just sometimes limit ourselves and get into a box of thinking that there's only a couple of alternatives, but there's always a world full of alternatives. But until we are able to see that, hey, there could be another answer, we won't even go looking for it, and then we get stuck. Anyway, that's it. Have an awesome day. If I can help you anyway, I guess that's my way of saying, if you need somebody to help you just figure out what to do next, direct message me or hit me up in the comments below. That seems to be one of my strong suits, is to step back and see the big picture and say, okay, I can tell you what to do, but you already know what to do. You already know what to do in your business. Throughout all my different businesses, throughout all the years, I always knew what to do with the businesses. I just didn't necessarily want to do it sometimes. And there's a difference between knowing what to do and not wanting to do it. There's a difference between knowing that you have to make tough decisions and choices and procrastinating and putting them off, and not knowing and convincing ourselves that we don't know what to do. Because if we don't know what to do, then we don't have to do anything. We can stay stuck. We can procrastinate. We don't have to take responsibility for the consequences. Because whenever we know what to do, but we feel like it might have a negative consequence on anyone we love or care about, we don't want to do it. And so that will stop us from making decisions and choices and taking action in directions that we know in the not even long run, but in the short run might be better for us. All right, have an awesome day. I will be with you tomorrow just to share what am I working on and what I'm up to. Have a great day.